Are you ready for another tutorial? This is table runner number 12 from the Quilted Cow. This was a complete kit that I got, and I just got the top done. Can't wait to show you how it goes together. So this is a great beginner pattern. One of the things I love about this pattern is if you look at that picture, see how it kind of looks like they're overlapping and things like that. This is the fun of quilting, is when you're putting the blocks together, how you put them together will make them show up in many different ways. So I'm going to put some of these together and talk you through it. Okay, first things first, you're going to have these two little blocks. I want you to sew all the little blocks together first, because it doesn't matter which side's on or which side you sew, because you can flip them back and forth. So two little blocks together first, and just chain piece them. I'll show you what chain piecing means. Hey, I'm making a video here. What the heck? Okay, chain piecing just means I'm going to sew them one right after the other. So as soon as that one gets about all the way through, I'm gonna put my next two together. And I'm not pinning anything, guys. You can pin if that makes you feel more comfortable, but I'm just using my fingernails. See, I'm kind of using my fingernails to get them all straightened out. Then I'm going to feed it again. It does not matter that the first one went through on the brown side and this one went through on the white side. You just need one brown and one white to make this work. So just keep picking them up, putting them together, and don't cut the string or anything between the sewing. So this is my favorite part of chain piecing. It's like garland, or it's like a necktie. Ta-da! To chain piece, if you don't have one of those fun little contraptions to cut with, all of your machines have a little cutter thing on the side, and you can just slide it through and get your piece cut real easy. Okay, once you get all your little blocks together, we're gonna iron them. So the first thing you do is set your seam. So press it like this, right on those seams, open it up then, and we iron to the dark side. That means your light fabric goes behind your dark fabric. See how that works? The reason you do that is because when you're putting a quilt together, sometimes on the light fabric, you'll see this little bit of seam allowance. So if I was to iron it this way, and the fabric might show through on the other side, like a shadow or something. So it wouldn't be awful, but iron to the dark side. That's what we mean when we say that. We don't mean be bad. We don't mean be like Darth Vader. We just mean to put the seam on the opposite side, just like that. We're going to sew the two units together. This is one block and this is the other block. We are going to always put the C on the left. This is my C unit. This is my C unit. We're always going to put the little C block on the left when I sew them together. And then you're flipping it upside down. Now, if you're looking at this, you might be like, well, maybe I need to sew them different each time. You don't, because this one's upside down and this one's right side up. So it's always on the left. So once again, we're going to iron it open. So you set your seam, press it like this. That's just setting it closed. Open it up, and we're going to iron this way. And just like that, you've got your new unit. Super cute. Almost there. We're going to lay out the larger blocks. So to do that, I need two of these. Nope, just two. Just two. Two of these and two of these. And we're going to lay them out like this. So my two patterns go this way, and my C units go on the outside. So remember how we only sewed the C unit on the left? This is why. So it's going to end up looking like that. Just so you guys can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to sew together each of the two bottom units individually, chain piecing. Then I'm going to lay them back out so that I don't lose my place. Then I'm going to do each of the two top units individually, just chain piecing. And then I'm going to lay them back out. I'm going to press everything. And then I'm going to put this block together, this block together, this block together, and this block together. You could just do them in strips if you wanted to. For me, I think it'll be easier just to do them in big blocks. Now that we've got our individual units together, we're going to put our big units together. This time there is a seam to deal with. So notice how my 1/4 inch seams here go each direction. That allows me to nest the seams. So I'm going to put them together just like that, and I'm going to pin right here so that I don't lose my spot. Okay, let's put this together. Now remember, when there's a seam, you want to nest that seam. You want to put it all together. So you're going to bring it up like this. you're going to bring these points, so you can see it. See, I've got one of my seams is pointing this way and the other seam is pointing the opposite way. And you bring them together right there, and that will get you a pretty good point. So I also pin right at that point. So I'm going to grab a pin, I'm going to shove it in there. Now I like to pin at the top and the bottom as well. I like to make sure that those two are together when I'm sewing, because it always pulls just a little bit while you're sewing. So make sure you've got things pinned up and then sew them all together. Okay, all you beginners out there, leave your pin in until the very last minute, but do not sew over your pin. You may see other people do that. Some people are using different types of pins and things like that, but you risk breaking your needle and you do risk it falling off or shooting out. So just take it out, but leave it in as long as possible, and that will keep things together in the best way as possible. It's still the same day, just so you know. I just didn't like my other sweatshirt. It was hard to manage. So sometimes you sew it together wrong. And you just got a seam rip. It's no big deal. You could leave it together like this, but instead just seam rip it. And then you'll have what the design is and you'll like it. So this won't take long to fix. I know, I totally just did it again. What in the world? I'm cutting my second border pattern, and I need basically 4 2.5-inch strips. Well, I need 2 and 2 really, based on the cutting. So I'm going to do a 2.5 and a 2.5, and all I do is I look down here. Here's 1, here's 2, and here's my half. So I'm going to make sure I'm all lined up. I'm going to drop my little blade into that hole. Now that's a perfectly cut strip. Now I need another one. So 2.5 and 2.5 is what? It's 5. So I'm going to come over here to the 5, cut again, and then I'm going to say, okay, 5 plus 2.5 is, or you can do it like this, 6, 7.5. You can use your fingers. All right, I'm going to do the 7.5. Just like that. Now I've got my perfectly cut strips ready to go for my borders. I'm falling more and more in love with this fabric the more I work with it. Okay, so when you do your border, you're going to cap one side and cap the other side. That means that, now that's Courtney speak. I don't know if that's officially the word for it, but it's Courtney speak. So I'm basically going to sew on my long ends first and sew on my short ends second. Then once I get my short ends on, notice how they're a little long. I even left this one really long so you could see what I'm talking about. Then I'm going to trim it down. That way there's no mistakes on my ends. They're going to be perfectly done at the end. The other thing to think about is this fabric has words. See the words? So you have a lot of options with words. You can do one side going one way and the other side going the other, or do what I did, which is the words at the top are pointing. So see how they're at? Now look at the words at the bottom. It's almost like there's a paragraph behind my runner and I put the words in. Now the side words are kind of leaned out like this, but I made sure to do the same thing on both sides because it felt normal to me. Listen, it does not matter. It can be however you want it, but you just know that you're going to have to cap one side and cap the other and figure out how you want that to look. There's a lot of fun other ways to do it, but just the easiest way is to cap one side and cap the other and trim it once it's all on. This pattern is super beginner friendly, so if you can get it from the Quilted Cow and the kit, you can put this together in a morning or an afternoon. This is not a hard pattern, so if you're a beginner, this one is for you, for sure.